Yo, yo, yo. Thank you for joining in the
What up?
Logistics Lounge. As y'all can see, Mr. Hound is still out. He has unofficially has the vid. He won't admit it, but he has it. But that's beside the point. Tonight, one night only, we have Mr. Trent Martin here from ITS, better known as Internet Truckstop or Truckstop.com. We're going to talk about the amazing job that they've been doing, where they're headed, and all the things that you can look forward to from Truckstop. Y'all sit back, relax, pop a top, and enjoy the lounge. Gentlemen, we'll start with John. John, how you doing, brother? You back for day number 2?
I'm back for day number 2 in a row, but I've also got my bottle with me here. So let's see how many gloves there are here. We're looking at 4 gloves today, and it's 4 gloves of happiness. It's 4 gloves of happiness today. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm proud to report that for those of you who watched yesterday's show, we were talking about freight guards. The freight guard or the carrier I was dealing with an MCP report, we have finally got that resolved. And I have to say, I got it resolved with the help of yesterday's guest. So if you have not watched that show yet, please check that one out.
Dude, when you told me that earlier, John, man, even now it brings a smile to my face that we had on Dan Arteev yesterday, the freaking freight guard fighter, the carrier's guardian, on talking about how he helps, deal with these freight guards against these carriers because they're detrimental to them. And in less than 24 hours, you were able to connect with Dan and solve an issue that you were stressing out about yesterday. Hey, if that is not the power of the fucking Lounge Collective, I don't know what is. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up, dude. Hell yeah, brother. Other than that, was there any better news? Any other good news in your day? Any bad news?
Oh, heck no. The only bad news I got is the whole dispatch thing is just slow as dirt. I can't stand this market.
I know.
God, it's got to change. But hey, that's a complaint everyone's been talking about for 2 years now?
I know that's right, dude. Yep. Hell yeah. It'll flip eventually. Josh, my brother from another mother. How are you doing today, man?
Good, man. Good. Just had like a few ARP, the largest RFP that I've been on. Easy $700 million in freight spend. So good week, man. Good day, and I'm glad to be back with the boys, man.
Hell yeah, man. I love that hat, dude.
Oh yeah, only freight, baby.
That's it, man. I'll wear mine tomorrow when we do the show with Gigo, man. But I'm representing that Spill Bully, and I love me some Spill Bully.
Hey, Spill Bully, let's go.
Y'all need them spill kits. Go on over to the Logistics Lounge's website, go to the store, and get yourself a spill kit for that truck, man. I'm telling you.
Hey, man, God only made a few perfect heads. The rest he covered with hair.
Or hats. I purposely cut mine. I could probably grow me some fucking Fabio locks if I wanted to. Hey, how large is that RFP doing, man? How many lanes?
It's an inbound network, so it's a 10,000 lane set. So, but it's top heavy though. It's top heavy. Like the shit. I don't want to throw numbers out there because then people are gonna know who it is easily.
No, yeah, you're good.
But yeah, it's 10,000 lane set. It's inbound network, and this is directly with the shipper, like a different direction I'm taking Garmin, because they normally work with brokers and 3PLs or 4PLs, and just nice. Since leaving Amazon, I'm taking these fuckers to another level. Yeah,
nice.
We're trying to.
Fuck yeah, dude, that's what's up, bro. Sweet dog, Mr. Trent, how you doing today, man?
Doing all right, man. Can't complain. If I did, I hope nobody'd listen to me, right?
Man, I was just after you said I was going to say, hey, no, you could complain. You just got to find somebody to listen.
I don't want anybody to listen to me complain, but yeah. I really can't complain. It's actually funny the timing of this. that I'm able to get on with these two, especially John, the double broker bounty hunter. Like risk factors just went live today, and that couldn't have worked out better. So like one of our busiest days I've had in a while is we just got this new, risk prevention tool extension. And so it's just funny that it happened to be like the perfect timing for me to hop on the show. So I can't complain, man. Everything's good.
Hell yeah, man. We're gonna get into that and much more. Been trying to get y'all on the show for a while, man. Whoever does y'all social media, they watch and have commented and chimed in several times. It's just taking us a while to get y'all nailed down. So we are very honored to have Truckstop on the show. But before we get to Trent, we got to show some sponsor love. Trent was just talking about the risk tools that they came out. Something else that can help mitigate your risk with cargo theft and even the theft of your assets or theft of anything that you as a 3PL or a carrier handle is GGO, real-time GPS tracking. Shoreline Capital. You can't say enough good things about Shoreline, but the best thing that you could say about them is it is always a sure thing with Shoreline. Corey, bro.
Fucking Corey.
Yeah. Josh, I swear, bro. I would say he begged us, but he pushed us to be a part of a Shoreline video. I'm serious.
Oh shit.
You have to get him to tell you the inside joke of the pitch or whatever, but Corey's like, man, you got to put me in the next Shoreline commercial. So there's Corey, Dad of Two Roadside, our predatory towing friend commercial debut. Nice. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get to Mr. Trent here with Truckstop. Trent, I couldn't find your I hate you, bro. I forgot mine at Matt's. I lost mine at Matt's. I got so much other. Actually, no, you know what? Hey, screw you. Before we bring Trent on, since we're swagging, I bet you ain't got that shit, though. Yeah.
Oh, you fucker.
Oh, that's
man.
OG.
That though, do you? Yeah.
Oh, you bitch.
That was a special. That was a special that I got at Matt's, man. All right.
Just real quick, they sent y'all. Thanks, Trent and your team. They sent my son and some of his diesel buddies in school some shirts. So I appreciate that.
Oh,
they're all wearing Truckstop shirts and diesel school and shit. Fucking little amateurs think they know what the fuck they're doing.
Eventually, they're going to be the people that know what they're doing, man. That's the generation that's going to take over soon. So,
hell yeah, Trent. I couldn't find your exact song request, but
no, you're good.
I did find something by the artist. I don't know. I thought it was just kind of funny. So here we go, Mr. Trent Martin with Truckstop.
Raising hell with the hippies and the cowboys. They don't care about.
There you go.
Fuck yeah.
Some Jinx. Gotta love Jinx.
Yeah, man. He's cool, bro. When you said Cody Jinx, I was like, man, I like this guy. He like good country, bro. Good country, man.
I should have said, oh no, can you do that Beyonce song? That's my kind of country. And then he's like, yo, Pedro just like X's it out. Like, no, you're not on anymore.
I'm like, let me cancel this link for him to join.
It's like, we were going to have this guy, but I don't know if it's going to work out.
That's awesome. Trent, man, thank you for joining us, brother. Like I said, it's been kind of a long time coming. So we're really awesome that we could finally put something together and make something happen. And welcome to the Logistics Lounge. We know you enjoy yourself. We know Truckstop is going to enjoy watching this, and we look forward to having you back on. We promise we're not going to say anything today that is going to get you canceled, Trent. Okay?
Well, that's
promise.
Good.
That is.
I gave Pedro my word, Hunter.
I did. I told Josh. So Josh, don't you fucking get him canceled, man.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Trent. We start every guest off with the same question. It is the only question that we really truly have that we know every show. Who is Trent Martin, and how did you become to be with Truckstop?
Dude, that's a great question. Former dirtbag. No, just joking. So I'll go back. I don't want to go too far back and inundate you, but kind of my way to Truckstop and the way I kind of explain everybody, because they're like, how did you get into tech sales? Doesn't make sense. Like, a guy from my background shouldn't be in tech sales. So I'm going to run it back to, like, I was 24 years old. I was working at a precast concrete plant, and I was building precast concrete. We were building like culverts, box culverts, and bridge moldings and things like that. And I was a carpenter for this crew. So we had these precast deals that were setups, or I have to go build custom deals, right? So as a young kid, I was doing that, and I moved up my way to like quality control manager. So my time got a little bit more freed up. I wasn't working as much overtime. I was just doing that. So I started a little side business in 2016 where I was like doing handyman work. And I promise this will wrap around to how I get to Truckstop. It's just a windy road, but started doing some handyman work, like just on the side. I knew a couple of people that like owned houses, a couple of real estate agents that were like buddies or friends of friends. So I was doing little like tile jobs and little things on the weekend. And it got to the point where I was making more money on my weekends than I was in my real job. And I was like, dude, I need to figure this out, because I did have a pretty cush job at that point. I was just doing the quality control testing of concrete. And if you've ever seen that, it's pretty boring. We have to send stuff, all the concrete jars out. It's a little thing like this. I do a crusher every morning. I do 1 day, 7 day, 28 day. And so it was a pretty easy job, and it allowed me to kind of put more effort into like starting a business. And so I got, anytime I was like, either in the yard truck or like sometimes on the forklift moving stuff around in the yard, I just throw on my headphones and listen to different podcasts. And like, I wanted to bridge the gap. I wanted to, start a business. That was my whole dream. So I left, let's see, I think it was 2018 when I finally left that company and went full time. And I'm out of Boise. I was out of Boise. I'm in Washington now, but I was in Boise, and it was blowing up at that time frame, right? So my little handyman business got really busy, and it was great. Like, I started getting some contracts with like local property management companies, a lot of real estate agents, and then I started doing some working with house flippers. There for a while, I was actually flying out to Dayton, Ohio, and doing Section 8 housing. So they'd go buy these houses. I'm not joking, like, dude, 20 grand, because they're like dilapidated, right? But you'll go throw $35,000 into it, and you get $800 a month guaranteed from the government. And in Dayton at that time, there was like 4,000 people on the list for Section 8. So there was a lot of money that was being pumped federally into the area, and they were trying to revitalize that area. So I was doing that for a couple of years, a lot of back and forth, which financially was awesome, but it took its toll, man. Like, being away from my wife, I missed my first wedding anniversary on a house flip. No joke.
Oh.
So that's the kind of person, like, and I just missed my wife's birthday for Freight Waves last weekend. She knows how it is. I cleared it with her.
Well, we're gonna have this. No, we're gonna have this conversation.
Bro, I bought her a 4Runner like right before that happened. So I'm like,
smart man.
Yeah. So in that time, like, it was good. But the business was breaking me down. And every time I tried to expand, right, I'd go out and I found I loved selling these projects to, whether it was property managers or house flippers. I love doing that. I love building those relationships and being able to lock in those contracts. But I was like in my mid-20s. I had no idea how to run a business. I started scaling and my business tanked, right? Like I couldn't juggle it all, and I had no experience to really handle that, especially like in the niche that I was in. I was doing these, some of them are like higher end remodels, and like if something goes wrong on that, if I'm like robbing Peter to pay Paul, and I'd go sell another project, and I was really good at that to be able to finance the rest of this project. So I was doing a lot of that to make it happen, and pretty soon I found myself in end of 2019. I was working like 7 days a week. Every Monday through Friday, I was waking up at 5:30 so I could make it to Home Depot at 6 a.m. to get all my materials dropped off to my guys for their 7 a.m. start. And then I'd come back after 5 p.m. working in the field, and then I'd do all my quotes. So I ended up working like 12 hours a day. I was working Saturday and Sunday every week to try to go through it. And like my wife's like, dude, it's already hard. Like she married me knowing that I was gonna pursue that, right? She knew that I was gonna be busy, but it was taking its toll. I had adrenal fatigue, so like my kidneys were shutting down because I was drinking so many beers, and so in the long roundabout way, like I had to like tell myself, like, I need to step back. Like this business, it's going to kill me if I allow it to, or it's going to age me severely, and it's going to create some problems with the family. So I took a step back, and I remember telling my wife, it was like December 2019. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to find a way to work from home and be able to like provide a good life for us. Like that's what I told her. I was like, I missed a lot of stuff with my kid. There's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of travel. I was tired of it. And there's a little company. This is how I got my sales end, right? So I got good at the negotiating contracts, things like that. I found that there's a little, it was a little company, I think it's called DeBella, and they sell windows, siding, and roofing, things like that. And I just rolled up, just knocked it, like showed up and was like, hey man, you're going to want to hire me because I can sell anything to anybody, right? And that was my pitch. And they're like, oh, I like that you came in and didn't do the traditional route. So I just came in, they did one interview, and like, yeah, dude, you're hired. So I was there.
Oh, no way.
But here's the thing. I started January of 2020. COVID happens. March, they shut everything down, and it was all in-person sales, right? So like we are no longer able to go to people's homes, or if we had this one thing where we were trying to do virtual appointments, which is really hard. We tried to do showcasing through windows. And so I'm trying to like show off these like vinyl windows. I'm trying to make it all look cool. Dude, they didn't care, it was, and people were a little bit worried to finance at that time, so I ended up doing really well in the months I was there, and immediately became a top producer there. But it was like that kind of happened. And then they tried to do this internet marketing push where they're sending us out further and further from our location. So I'm driving 2.5 hours one way, and then they don't even show to their appointment because they didn't verify. And then I have to drive literally 4 hours the other way to go to my second appointment. So I have a 10 a.m. and then a 4 p.m. and then I have to drive 2 hours back home. And it got to the point where it's like, this doesn't make sense for me, right? And what that led to was I was just looking for like phone sales jobs. I just didn't know what I was looking for. I'd been in construction my entire life. My father, he owned a small business. He did HVAC, and then he did a little bit of everything. But he worked on the railroad, framed houses. So he was in construction / railroad his entire life. He told me, I want you to work with your head, not your body, because he's beat up, man. He's having a hard time getting around. He's not even 7 years old, and he could barely walk. And he's like, I need you to, figure something else out. Don't lead down my path. So I ended up finding this it was like debt settlement. It was the only office job that had phone sales. I just looked up phone sales jobs, did the exact same thing, just how I am. I cruise in, I have a resume in hand, but I didn't send it to him. And I was like, I need to talk to your hiring manager. And they're like, well, he's busy. I was like, well, he make himself not busy because you guys are hiring for like 6 people and you guys haven't filled it. So I waited my turn, waited for him to show up. Guy hired me basically on the spot. Didn't do a real interview. that was my way into phone sales. So I know that was a bit of a wind, but this is how it led to Truckstop. So I was working at this phone sales job. There's a kid fresh out of college that had like a computer science degree that wanted to get in, but it was COVID. Nobody was really hiring, or there was a little bit less of a hiring spree. So he just found a job that happened to be at this little debt settlement shop. And he knows I was doing really well, and he never quite got that. He just couldn't quite connect it. And he's not, he's a great person. Love the dude. Corbin's awesome. Shout out to him, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be at Truckstop. But it just never clicked for him. So he ended up finding a job at Truckstop because he knew, same way everybody gets it. He knew somebody that knew somebody, and he ended up getting a role over there. Truckstop was blowing up in 2021. Like, it was a meteoric rise. Iconic had purchased us just a couple years before. People were moving to the digital aspect of freight and trying to, make things easier. And so I got on this giant meteoric rise of Truckstop, where we're bringing on people, we're servicing more clients, we purchased RMIS that year. And so that's when I saw that, and Corbin was like, he tried to get me to work at Truckstop once, but I was doing pretty well at my other job. I was like, no, man, I don't need this. I've got something set up. And I remember I got a clawback. And if you don't know anything about the debt settlement industry, first of all, it's kind of skeevy. I didn't even like selling it. Like, it's just, some people just don't need it, but you're positioned to try to, get these people into these packages. And I never really felt good about it. And I got some clients that called me a few months down the road and was like, hey man, this isn't working the way that you purported it to. And I genuinely thought that's how it worked, because I had only been there for a certain amount of time. Right. So I kind of got that feedback from some of my clients that I set up, that I had personal relationships with, because I worked with them to get this through. And as soon as I found out it didn't work exactly the way that I thought it was going to every time. There were success stories. I don't want to completely, say it's not feasible ever, but I didn't feel good about it. I was looking for another job that I actually got denied on. And Corbin was like, hey man, one more shot. This is, I think it was the second or third time he'd asked me to join Truckstop. And he's like, hey man, I get a referral bonus. Like, went out to beers one night, and he's like, dude, just sign up. So I ended up getting the interview, got hired on right when it started blowing up. So I'm kind of one of the boom hires of 2021. And here we are, man. I started selling to carriers over the phone. It was the FMCSA carriers that just got their authority. That was my first job at Truckstop, calling those truckers.
Oh, no shit.
Yes, cold calling. And as you know, dude, truckers are funny, man. They'll slam you. So I would save call recordings all the time, because there are some of the funniest things. Like, I can't even repeat some of the things that I'd heard. But anyway, I worked with carriers for first few months. I got promoted up a couple of times, and here I am at Truckstop. I'm currently a broker expansion account executive. Really what that means is I have a territory of brokers. I think there's about 1,200 accounts total in my area, and I help with all the account management. If there's certain services they want to increase, or maybe if they want to do downgrades, I'm the person that's like the liaison for everything on their account. So it's all relationship based.
Nice.
Damn, bro, that is a weird, it is a weird story, but it is so typical of people in logistics. Every time we all joke about this, that nobody grows up saying they want to work in fucking logistics, like in any aspect, whether it be at a load board, a TMS, or as a broker. Like, nobody says they want to do that shit. You know what I mean? And everyone kind of falls in it. I mean, just like me, I did it in the Army, and now here I am. So to talk to you about, that is not really about you, but is about Truckstop as a whole. We talked about this back line, but you had a really cool story about ITS's history, or as you and I talked. Actually, I'll let you just tell the story. Why don't you go ahead and tell them the story you told us in the backstage?
Absolutely. So I'll give it with a grain of salt. Obviously, Scott Mosgrip is the one that's going to be able to tell that story exactly how it needs to be. Scott Mosgrip was a visionary at that time when nobody was using online platforms. He figured out like that was going to be the future. been lucky enough to actually meet him. Like I said, I was in the Boise office, and so I'd ran into him a couple of times. Very, very down to earth dude, but his story is so compelling and how he started it. So I'm going to give the caveat. I'll never be able to tell it as good as he does, but I'm going to give it to you guys so you know the gist. And then if Scott can ever come on here or another, I would love for the world to hear his story, because it's like it's truly inspiring. I know that sounds corny, but it's so inspiring as somebody that works for this company that's now so large, is like you started something in their basement. So I'll go back. The story I was telling, backstage, we were all chatting, getting to know each other. So back in like late 94, early 95, somewhere in there. So Scott was driving. I can't remember if he's with his family or friends or whatever the case is. And there was a truck parked on load, a dry van. And he saw that there was a number spray painted on the side of the dry van. He's like, what is that? And I think they stopped it at a truck stop or something, or maybe it was a diner or whatever the case is. And basically he came to find out in some way that, like, back at that point in time, they used to have, this company, I won't say their name, I'm not supposed to, but they would have these pieces of paper up, and you'd rip the paper and you'd call in for loads and try to see if you can move. So if like you did a load to Nebraska, you're just trying to get back home to Idaho, there was no efficient way to go about that. Right. So Scott came to find out, like, this spray painted phone number on the side of this drive-in was a number to, like, I don't know if it was the guy's wife or his dispatcher or whatever the case was, to be able to connect those dots to get that truck driver home or find more loads when he's on the road. So Scott, being like a visionary, was like, that if we can connect this. The internet was still pretty early adoption, in 95, it wasn't highly used, but he figured out, like, what if there was a way that somebody could raise their hand and say, I'm in Nebraska and I need freight to get back to Idaho, but there's somebody also that says, oh, I have a load and I need that freight moved. So he figured out a way. He started it up in 1995. So next year will be 30 years total. But he created that, and I from the story, it was basically out of his mom's basement. I swear it's the most humble beginnings create these incredible companies, but it was small at first, and obviously it took a few years to really start adopting, and now Truckstop is unrecognizable to the early years. Now we're not just a load board, we're so much more.
You guys surely are. Y'all have become a lot more. My first experience with Truckstop, I think, was, I don't know, 2016-ish or whatever.
Yeah.
I had a job as a transportation manager and had to use you guys to find loads. And coincidentally, the broker that I met over a load from Truckstop actually got me interested in brokering. And a couple years later,
no way.
I actually fell into it. Yeah, man. I worked for a company that we had final mile accounts with DHL and UPS. And so, like, it was the stuff people would order from Amazon or other companies, and it would get flown in off of a plane into DFW airport, get brought to our facility. We would sort all this stuff out, and then I had a fleet of Sprinter vans and box trucks. They'd go deliver it to the post offices. But with DHL, we had two accounts that one truck would go to Memphis and another truck would go to St. Louis, and we would shuffle truckloads of packages for DHL between those. But I had to get my trucks back. And so I just, looked up one day, I don't know what I searched, probably, find truckloads. I don't freaking know what it was. And Truckstop was the first thing that had popped up, and I signed up for them. And yeah, I met a guy. He actually worked for C.H. Robinson. And dude had an account, coincidentally, both from St. Louis and Memphis. And he's like, dude, I got these things every week. That's so crazy. He's like, man, I can move the days around and make this work for you. And him and I developed a relationship, and that's how I learned about brokerage. So kind of cool. That, in a way, you're
super
full
small.
Circle. In a way, you're full circle, and out here I am kind of full circle.
That's wild, man. That's awesome though. That's cool that, like, we were indirectly in some way able to help out. So that's awesome to get you over here.
Yeah, man. It was pretty neat. And so, you started during, obviously during the vid, that was a rough time for a lot of people, but our industry, it grew extremely well. You know, a lot of people made a lot of money. You know, a lot of people came into this industry during that time. And, you know, so since your time there, you know, actually, hold on, let me back up. Truckstop has made a lot of changes in the last few years. They used to be, you know, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. No, not known for certain things, but they have really stepped up their game, you know, in the last several years. What type of changes have you seen go on, Trent, that, you know, is helping Truckstop take things to the next level?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So, kind of going back to those the early my days, right? It's not early Truckstop, but early my days when I first joined that FMCSA team. I was calling, you know, brand new carriers, and like we had this joke. If we heard hot shot or flatbed, we knew it was going to be a sale. Like everybody knew that Truckstop had flatbed and hot shot, and, you know, like anything open deck, like. It was so easy for us, but then we ran into this stumbling block of, like, we'd hear reefer, and we'd sell those accounts, but it was a lot less. You know, it was like, oh, you know, you'd kind of be like, oh, bummer, it's a reefer instead of a. But during that time, like, to give you a little bit of background, I think Iconic purchased I don't know if it's a controlling interest or whatever. I'm not smart enough to be in those meetings, but they purchased a portion of Truckstop, and, you know, they invested some money to be able to grow. And one of the things they wanted to do is make sure that we weren't just a load board. So I don't want to make myself look like I'm talking on my butt or anything, because I'm not the one that was smart enough to be in those meetings and figure out all those things. But just to give you the idea of somebody on the ground floor seeing what's happening is, they purchased RMIS in 2021, if you don't remember that. And that was a big, I didn't realize the play. I just thought it was an automated onboarding platform. What really happens is all the data in RMIS is huge. They have like 98.3% of the carrier data in North America.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
Me as a ground, like, when I'm selling this stuff, I didn't really understand that play as much as the people, like, shout out to Kendra Tucker, our CEO, like, very strategic movements, right? That me on the ground level, I'm just catching up to what they were. I'm not in those meetings, but the people that are, they are 10 steps ahead of the game. So one of the things that we wanted to do is make sure that we weren't just a flatbed provider, right? We want to branch out from that. Just like some of our other competitors might be known for other things, they started branching out into flatbed, vice versa. A lot of my clients use both. But that's one thing we wanted to do. The onboarding really helped out as far as there are people that might not ever use Truckstop, or maybe they have really good relationships with the people that they utilize, so they just want to monitor and onboard a certain amount. And then we had all this data. So kind of flash forward, we do a couple of updates on the load board. We started getting a few more people in the drive-in and reefer space to kind of come over and utilize Truckstop. So then it's, again, there's still certain markets we're targeting, obviously, and I'm not going to speak to that because I'm not the head of that division, but we're still constantly growing there. The thing that was huge, and this is the most recent. So this month already. So have you ever heard of Freight Friend?
No.
Okay. So this, from the brokerage world, and this is going to be huge, right? And I'll get into risk factors after this, but we have all of this data from RMIS, and right now people think of Truckstop as only the open deck carrier network. Like, that's, I talk to people about it all the time. They're like, sorry, man, I just don't think I get more traction on DAT, or I get more traction or whatever. Well, when we purchased Freight Friend last year, again, something that I wasn't aware of because I'm not smart enough to forecast what they're doing. Now they have all this data in our RMIS platform. They have all the data within a company's TMS system, right? All the carriers that they have in there. So Freight Friend is an automated platform that can, instead of just going and posting in the load board, you could post it into your Freight Friend account, and it'll do a cascading effect where it'll post. And if you want your selected carriers, your own internal network of carriers, to see it first, you can cascade that down to where I want this carrier to see it first. And if they don't, I want this group of carriers to see it. And if they don't get back to me, I can go to the open load board, right? So what it's allowing us to do is all of the data that's within somebody's TMS solution, it'll pop up those, and they don't have to have a Truckstop account. As long as they have their information in our system, they're going to get a notification from the Freight Friend auto deliver that the broker that you worked with 4 months ago has another load that's in that range. So instead of brokers going where, let's say they're having a hard time finding that capacity. They just can't find a lane. They pop it into their Freight Friend. It's going to send it out to all the people that match this certain criteria. It's going to auto assign those out. You're going to be able to get the right carrier, right? And then your load might not ever see the load board because we don't need to. So the step there, which I wasn't smart enough to see when I heard about Freight Friend, I was like, oh, that's a cool trick. Well, now that we have all this data, now we don't need to go capture every single carrier on the market that is not flatbed and dry van. Their information is going to live in one of those systems. We're going to help our brokers bridge that gap of capacity. And then we might see less loads going to the actual load board and more going into that internal carrier list, which is huge right now with the fraud that we're seeing, working with people you trust.
Two things, and then I'm going to let you get to the risk thing. I know that's a big thing that you want to talk about. You guys just released today. First thing is that RMIS move that was really smart. I like that you talked about the fact that a lot of people only know ITS or Truckstop for being open deck, and I'm the same way. Primarily ever since been in this industry, like ITS has been the open deck. How that became that way, I'm not sure. I don't know where that transition took place or how that all started to come about. But I think I know that RMIS was a way for Truckstop to pull that data in to be able to help move into those other markets and get that data for the van and the reefer carriers. Use that as a selling point. And I'm saying that obviously in a good way because it's a very intelligent move. They need to shorten that market spread that they have with other competitors, and a big part of that is being able to get more of that van, that reefer freight. But Truckstop does a great job with the open deck, man. I'll tell you, I dispatched for a little bit. I had 2 open deck carriers, and I booked 98% of their freight off of there. And I want to say this. I actually have 3 things, I guess now. I want to say something to y'all, man, that you guys, I honestly like y'all's layout more than any other board out there. I'm serious, man. The way that everything is laid out and how it tells you, hey, this is what this load is paying per mile, and then you open it up and it says this is what Truckstop's thing should be. I like that. Other competitors don't have that. It just shows the rate and says, hey, this is what the damn thing is paying per mile. So y'all lay out your platform, the thought that went into that, very, very, very good. I'm serious. In that aspect, you guys, in my mind, are definitely top on that.
Awesome.
It is. Crap, totally lost the second thing that I was going to. Oh, the Freight Friends. Freight Friends. That, man, that's an extreme value-driven tool that you guys are adding right there. Automation is a huge thing in our industry right now. People really push that. Brokers push that out to shippers. Shippers push that to brokers saying, hey, we like to be automated. We need to make sure that you can do this with us. In any tool that a broker or even a shipper could have, because shippers have accounts with you guys as well.
Yep.
You can put something in there and it gets shot out to carriers, more so ones that don't even have an account with you guys. That's awesome. It really is, because now you're not only giving a value to the person that has the account with you, the broker, the shipper, but now you're showing to the carrier that you sent that to, hey, you don't even pay us, and we're still letting you know that we got some freight that fits your criteria that you ran in the past. So those are, man, that's incredible stuff. I didn't know that about Truckstop, man. I really didn't.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And like, again, leveraging their own data, because one of the things I tell a lot of my clients I'm working with now, if you can use the same truck drivers as much as you can, man, use those owner operators that have done a good job for you. Stay on top of them, because it's so hard. Like John can attest to this, man. He's the double broker bounty hunter. It's so bad in the industry, and they're getting so clever that if you can use people that if I pick up the phone as a broker and I know John and I've worked with John and I know his voice, his actual voice. It's not just some random person. Like, those relationships are really, like, I see a lot of the clients that are succeeding in this market are going more back to that. And they're not just trying to push it to the load board, right? The load board is an incredibly valuable tool, but we don't want to overutilize that. We want to use that internal network. And that's what Freight Friend really helps out. Cause like you might have forgotten that you worked with John and you've already onboarded them, but if it's in your TMS and it's able to go through our Freight Friend system and it'll pop up like, oh, you remember, like you worked with this guy a few months ago. He ran this lane or he has this credential. Let's see if he's able to take it. And so, yeah, it's a really exciting time to be here at Truckstop with the change that's happening. So I'm really excited to see what the next like couple of years look like as we start building in to be in a full, end-to-end experience.
Well, that really explains a lot of what I've been hearing lately. I'm also a contract dispatcher. I represent 6 different carriers. And over the last few weeks, I have been getting more and more direct phone calls and emails from brokers about lanes that I've covered in the past. And I've been wondering kind of, well, am I doing something right that these guys are remembering me after doing this for a few years? But okay, this makes a lot more sense to me. So I'm actually glad to hear this.
But yeah, Joe, I mean, obviously they remember you, right? That's the big thing, being known.
Well, they all remember the double broker back.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, that's as this market, the way it is right now, fraud is increasingly rampant. Like, obviously we're doing all the things we can to get ahead of it. But the best thing about this is if you have a relationship, just like when I have a client that calls me on not even my office line, they'll call my personal phone and be like, Trent, this is my problem. What's going on? Like, I know that's, Grant with so-and-so. I know that's Bruce. I know it's one of my guys I work with. So then it allows us to have a better communication, and we're not just wondering, is this going to work out? Or they might feel better if they hear from me rather than some random person at Truckstop. So on your end, that's exactly what you're going to start seeing.
Well, love you guys for it.
Today was a special day. You spoke about it backstage. So I'm going to let you get into what you guys were doing today over there at Truckstop. And then I know John is going to want to chime in. So I'm going to hand it over to John after that to maybe ask you a question or two.
Absolutely. Is there any way, and I didn't ask this before, so if it doesn't work, that's totally fine. Is there any way I could share my screen and show you what it is? If not, that's fine.
If you're there's a button or a bar at the bottom, and there's a screen that says present. So you just pull it up whenever you want to, hit it down there, and then you can pull it up.
Give me a second, because honestly, my explanation cannot do this justice.
Dude, no, that's fine. Yeah, no, take your time.
Because this is
he'll edit out the blank space. He'll edit that out.
Right.
Well, I'm thinking I'm not going to edit any more videos because I don't like it. I'm not going to edit any. It's going to be what it fucking is.
You're good. All right.
Well, let me go firing off on some spiel here for you.
Right. Okay. So I think I got this present here. Right. So I'm going to share screen. Share my screen. I got 2 monitors. Okay, now. No.
Select screen or window.
There we go. And
then you
show that. So do you see what I'm?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So thanks for giving me this opportunity. Because I think this is really what's going to help out a lot of people, especially if they might be priced out of the market with certain tools that could help them out. A lot of brokers are struggling right now. I know a lot of brokers are looking on ways to cut back. And like a lot of the success that I might find is if we have products that they're already paying for on different platforms, but we have a better solution and maybe a better cost point, like that's where I'm finding a lot of my success. And the reason why I'm excited about showing this is I think it's going to be a big portion of the future, right, of Truckstop. So as you can kind of see here, you see the load board, you can see all this fun stuff over here, but this is what I wanted to get into. Now, to kind of roll back, you're going to see the products tab on CPR. I'm just going to go into this just to show you. So on our load board platform, if you're on Pro or better, you're going to have this carrier performance reporting. And I'm going to show you this to tie it in directly to this carrier profile. Because right now, I'm obviously in my load board. Most brokers I work with, they don't even want to log in. They have an integration set up. They're in their McLeod. They're in their Revenova. They're in their tie. They're auto posting to the board. They're not even coming in here. And a lot of times they'll have like a back-end compliance team, right? So not everybody is going to get the RMIS login, especially larger companies. They're not going to give a first-year college grad access to the. And it's like, no, your job is to connect those dots. And then you're going to send us the DOT. We're going to tell you yes or no. So on a front end user experience, a lot of times I get people all the time that don't even use this tool, even though they have access to it, because they just don't know about it, right? So I wanted to get into this, and if I'm trying to think if I can find one that is, give me a second here. I'm just going to search this.
I can offer you one of my carriers for a.
Pull up my MC.
Okay, so I just wanted to pull this up only because I'd had a customer work with this person before, or well, this individual, and I wanted to bring up so we can show like the risks associated, right? So being in here, sometimes people don't have access to it. You'll notice that this is actually an add-on. This is an extension that can go live within your TMS or your Outlook or your Gmail. So it's going to follow you where you go. So that's one thing that I wanted that's distinct about this, because we have this carrier performance reporting. You can go in and you could read the reports, right? These are reports that are filed directly into the system, and we have a report date, report name, and what the complaint's about. So in here, we have all of this data, right? But look how inundated this is. When I try to demo this, people fall asleep by the time I get through this. I'm like, do you want to see CSA scores? They're like, not at all. I don't care anything about that. Like, why are you showing me all this data, and where is it packaged to where it makes sense for me on how do I make a quick decision when I get a call? And you know how this is, Pedro. You get a call, you need to know, you can't waste 15 minutes deciding, or what, like that load needs to get moved. And so if you have to come into multiple areas, sometimes it's difficult. So we do have this platform that's already on our Pro or Better, but we can take this and we could take this DOT number. I'm going to right click, look it up in Truckstop. Hold up. Let's see if it's going to, 1 second here. Of course that would happen, right? Okay, here we go. So just needed to reload. I wasn't logged. But you can see right here, TechSwift Arizona, and it doesn't matter what tab I go, this is going to be able to pop up. So I can be in my TMS here.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, so it's going to live on the right-hand side of your screen, and you could obviously collapse it and then bring it back up. So it's just an extension that'll live there, so you don't have to worry about logging out, doing anything like that. So as you've seen, I popped that DOT number in. So now we have this medium risk identified, and we'll go into this. Everything's a caveat. Truckstop doesn't want to tell you yes or no on anything, because we have carriers we know, that I know personally, that have like a dual authority account, right? They're a broker and a carrier. I know the guy personally. I know they run legitimate business, but it might show that they're a higher risk, and we'll go over why that is. We're never telling you yes or no. We don't want to, we don't want to take liability, but we also want to just show you what we see as to why. And everybody has a little bit different of look at it. So if I go into this medium risk identified, and we're going to click into here, okay, we're going to see this information, power units 2. We can go into details, but we have this risk identified, right? Potential raises concerns for potential fraudulent activity. So you're like, okay, again, it doesn't say yes or no, but it says there's potential fraud here. Why is that the case? So now we kind of come into here, TechSwift Arizona, raises concern for potential fraudulent activity. There are 3 reasons of the caution regarding this carrier. Suspicious phone lines associated with the carrier. So one of the tools that we have, it's called Safer Watch. If you have access to that and you're paying for Safer Watch, you can log out of your TMS and go to Safer Watch and look at the fraud check to see if a phone number is linked to any other companies that may have been deactivated, right? Now you don't need to do that. It lives here. So you're like, oh, that's funny. That's a suspicious phone number that's tied to other potential fraudsters, right? Last contact updated 55 days ago. Why did they just, some people are getting that FMCSA scamming stuff, right? FMCSAs have been, there's a lot of scrutiny there because people were getting their information changed. So legitimate carriers were getting their stuff stolen, and then they're running into all these issues. So why was their contact updated? Okay. And the carrier's been certified by 8 clients. Is this 8 real clients, or is this, like, let's get a deeper dive. So it goes into the details where they're at. Suspicious phone lines. So it'll actually just show you, like, this John Hikes is linked with this phone number to these certain things. The contact change. Why did the contact change, right? If that's the case, sometimes it's a legit carrier, but it got stolen through the FMCSA, and we'd be able to see that because let's say it was, George Jones, for example, and now it's John Hikes. Why did that change? So when you're on the phone with them, we're not telling you yes or no, but we're giving you questions to ask. And it's all built into this system. So you can go further in, do some carrier details. So if you want to see what kind of compliance or safety, you can see this is a brand new DOT or MC, or it was new. And you can see that also here with this common authority carrier date. So we know it's new in here. This just gives you that platform to see here. So the reason why we want to show that to people is like, this is kind of obnoxious to have to come into here when you're in your TMS. You want to be able to pop something over to here. Everything's going to live there. And so, for example, do you have a DOT number that I could just pull up just to give you an idea? And again, we're not saying a yes or no. We'll just show that if there may be risks.
Trent, try 489245.
489245. Harris Trucking.
Oh no, shit.
That shows inactive. So I don't know if that.
48. Oh, you said DOT or MC?
Oh, is that an MC?
Yeah, it's an MC.
Okay. I always give everybody a grain of salt, right?
There we go. German Trucking.
Okay.
Oh.
No. Here we go. This is actually this is a good call out, right? So the reason why we want to click into here, hold up. It just says that there might be a risk, and then you can go through and ask these questions, right? So we can show the location. This, I don't know how accurate this is, right? I don't know if this is what your numbers run at. It shows that you're a relatively large company. You're not a small mom and pop, one truck division. And it's just saying that there are risk indicators. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't utilize you, right? It's not saying Truckstop says you can't use it, but it'll give some questions. So the carrier's fleet size of 50 or more power units mitigates this concern. Do you see that? So VIN conflicts, if there's a VIN conflict with an owner operator with one truck, that is a concern. So all we did is there is a VIN conflict, but there's 50 plus units. That's not an issue, right? Like that tracking is not going to happen. That's not going to be something they look at and dive into. VIN, from all the brokers I work with, they're more so worried about owner operators, brand new authorities that they're trying to work with. They have one truck and there's a VIN conflict on that truck, right? So there's email address changes, and this could also be explained. So if you're on the phone, Josh, with somebody that's like, hey man, it's showing as a risk, what's going on with this? Well, maybe you as the operations manager or whatever position you're in there, maybe you had to change some information either on the FMCSA or somewhere where you're reporting. Now you're taking the reins. Maybe it was, Jason so-and-so, now it's you. And that's something that you can easily speak to, right? And the larger companies are, the more times you're going to see high risk, right? Because there's just so many different things you can run into. So again, it doesn't say don't use them. It says, here are some questions that we have. So phone lines tied to non-fixed VoIP. My phone number at Truckstop is a non-fixed VoIP, right? You're a large company. That makes sense. If it's somebody that says they're an owner operator, why would they have, typically you're calling their cell phone or their, office line. They're not going to have a dial tree like you or I would have in a large company. So again, it's associated with the risk. It's not saying don't use them. It's associated with risk. If there's this, again, if a broker's using their mind, they go, okay, there's 50 plus trucks. There's going to be some VIN conflicts, and they don't have to have, I'm not calling the owner's cell phone, right? And so that was the IP addresses, and there were 6 new IP addresses used in contact changes in the last 60 days. You might have people that are either remote and transferring, right? So they might work here one day and here another, or you might have some reps that are maybe overseas, right? I don't know how you guys set up over there. I work with clients that have people that are like either out of Serbia or have people that work out of different countries, and they have whole teams, right? It doesn't necessarily say, hey, you shouldn't use that. It just says, hey, why are these IP addresses the way they are? The one good factor about a large company is all of these things are going to pop up pretty much no matter what. If you look up UPS, no joke, it's going to show high risk, even though it's UPS, right? And it's only because it's based on the potentials to connect. So then you can go in and like, these might make a lot of sense. It looks like there were some changes from Paul to Rico. Like you might recognize some of these names.
Oh,
I'm gonna scroll past just in case, but that's all I'm saying is it gives you some information that you can go.
That's pretty good.
But it lives here, and like this is the thing, and I want to hear too from John, because John mentioned that he helped somebody with a freight guard, right? Yeah. So what we're doing here, unfortunately, there are a lot of really good people with good businesses that are getting caught up in the BS. Like all this tech that's coming out, we're trying to get ahead of things. So one of the things that we're seeing is these phishing emails coming in, right? And we were talking about this backstage, Josh and Pedro. Like if you're a 55-year-old truck driver and like you can barely operate your iPhone, you're not a tech person, and you get an email that says you need to verify your Truckstop account, you're like, well, I don't want to lose access to my mobile account. Like that absolutely makes sense. So they're going to type in that information. It's going to get stolen. So unfortunately, that owner operator that's been in business for 20 years just got his stuff hacked. And then they're going to start pretending to be this. And unfortunately, they can do so much damage so quickly. And then these freight guards get popped up, which is something I want to hear on how you get around that. But those are the things we're trying to avoid. We're just trying to give people better questions to some of these, to go, hey, this is going to live here, and it's a lot lower cost product than like people that are priced out of RMIS or priced out of some of these other higher price systems. That we want to get everybody access to some sort of compliance, some sort of fraud prevention. And we're not ever saying yes or no. We're just saying, hey, these are the questions that you should ask.
Well, on your main screen there, underneath that F, it talks about performance reports received. And I'm not able to exactly read some of that, but are these like negative reports or positive reports that other brokers are filing against carriers or something along those lines? Is that what we're seeing here?
Yeah, so you can see, we could see good and other reports. I know it's probably kind of hard to share, but there are, if you hop on, there are times where there are good reports. It's like, dude, I've been working with, John for 20 years, man. He's been killing it for me. He's never late. He never complains about, the drop off. Like those good reports. Unfortunately, people don't report good things as much, right? So you're going to see that less, but there are options. If you go into the spot in here, you could report the carrier or report the broker. We have a tool, Credit Stop Broker, that's the reverse of this, where you can check the brokers and see what their reports are. So that's where we have this living in our system, and a lot of people don't use it because they only use Truckstop through the integration on their TMS. And now we found that solution to where this is going to follow us no matter where we go. And you could always pop it off and pop it back on.
That's pretty slick shit right there.
It is.
Trent. Like, seriously, hey, I mean, there's a lot of, companies, whatever, that do stuff like that, give you a risk assessment and such like that. But the fact that it's an add-on, that's pretty stellar shit right there, man. That really is. I've not seen that from anyone. And John, I know I'm interrupting. I know you want to say something, but I just want to say something quick. I like that you elaborate, Trent, that it is not you guys saying not to do business with them. And I'm not saying that in a way as I know y'all saying that from a liability standpoint, right. But there are instances that, just like you pointed out, that people look on the surface like it's risky to do business with them, but you simply have a call with the operations manager or the dispatch director, whatever, and they explain like, oh, okay, hey, like, dude, cool, that totally fucking makes sense. Got it. So I like that y'all say that, because a lot of these systems out there that do the risk assessment type thing, they don't make that clear enough. They put it in the terms and conditions, but they're like, saying, hey, we're not saying this is a bad company. We're just saying, do your due diligence. They may be a victim of fraud and not even fucking know that they're a victim of fraud.
That happens more to, like, I've talked to so many people, especially like, dude, people that have been in this industry for 25 years, they never had to worry about any of that. And they run into their first ever fraudulent case and they just don't know how to handle it. They're like, dude, I've been doing this forever. Everybody knows me. I have your load board as a backup, or if I'm in an area that I can't find freight, they're like, dude, I log into your load board maybe once every other month. I just need it as a backup. But now I'm running into this issue where people are finding me on there and they're saying all these things, and they get looped in and they'll get complaints filed against them. And they just like what we're trying to do, especially with these tools, instead of going, hey, you should report these carriers after something bad happens, let's get ahead of it. And so let's stop. And there are brokers out there, and I'm not going to, say too much, but like there are brokers out there that kind of use it in a petty way. Like, oh, you're freight guarded. Like, I'm not going to, but what we're trying to do here is give you the right questions to ask so you can pop in and go, hey man, like you just said, this looks a little weird. Like, hey, why is the VIP, the internet code, whatever, why is that in an area that's different than it was before? Oh, we have remote reps, or we have reps that live in another country, or they live in a different office. And that's easily explainable.
So I'm curious, as far as dealing with, I deal a lot with freight guards and reputation management. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
And if somebody files a negative report, like I think I saw the word double broker on the screen that you had on there, does some report ever go out to the carrier who's being reported on so that they know such a report exists?
Yeah. So that's a great question. So like when it's within our system, and I can't speak too in depth about the security procedure, I work very adjacent to it, but we have a whole security team that literally like they have to deal with calls from the FBI and local law enforcement, all sorts of stuff, because there's all these things they run into. But
sure. From
an adjacent perspective, like especially the clients that I work with that have really strong relationships with that call me and they're like, dude, this person's reporting me and like this is bogus. I actually like it should be the other way around. And so then I get in there and it looks like, we send out that documentation to the person that it's filed against. So if somebody's filing a complaint, we need documents, right? And this is again, surface level. I'd let a security person go a lot more in depth, but we need certain documents, show what had happened. Then we are going to allow that carrier or that broker, vice versa, respond. We're not just going to put it up and go, okay, yeah, that's the truth. What we do is we have a very strict security procedure, right? And they go in there, hey, let's hear both sides of the story. Let's get all the documentation in place. And so that way, some guy that's been in business for 25 years doesn't have a 2-week period where they can't get freight. They're going to be notified. We're going to get to the bottom of what happened. And sometimes there's a little bit of back and forth where like both parties might not have done the greatest thing, but we figure out a way to kind of come together and figure out like, hey, let's only report the people that are truly causing issues. We don't want to kick off the people that have been using Truckstop for 15 years and this is the first time they've ever ran into anything because they got their stuff stolen from the FMCSA or any number of facets, right?
That's good to know. That's because I deal a ton with that. And I would give my right arm if any reporting platform had some way to adjudicate a claim within their own system to be able to screen out the bogus or the emotional reports that come out there. And I'm glad to see you guys do it. Yeah, you guys do a lot of great things. And I can't say enough good stuff about Truckstop. For one, your MFA that you guys recently implemented. Love the hell out of that. I know as a dispatcher, it's annoying as hell for me because whenever I go to set up one of my carriers with an RMIS broker, I've got to do the MFA first through Truckstop and get the code from my owner. Then I've got to go to my owner and get the email code from for RMIS. But my carrier knows what I'm doing. They're conscious of everything that's going on. And when the broker calls, oh yeah, we know everything about that. So it's a very good thing. As much as annoying as it is for me, it's still a very good thing, and my customers love it. So that's really good. I love the work that you guys are doing as far as the reputation management. I find that very encouraging. I wish other people did that as well, but of course, then I'd be out of a job.
Right.
That's neither here nor there. A couple of criticisms, a couple small ones. Okay. I had a carrier I represented once. Actually, I still represent him. About 2 weeks ago, we had a glitch. We tried setting him up with another broker, and I went to enter his RMIS ID number to do the setup, and I got the error RMIS ID number not found. Mm-hmm. His account was completely gone. I mean, completely disappeared. All his data, I couldn't set him. I couldn't do a damn thing. And then 2 days later, it was all repopulated. So I'm not sure what kind of glitches happen behind the scene, but it does seem like the system does have some random glitches somewhere. And it's the only time in 3 years that I've experienced this, but I did experience it. I don't know if that's something that's important on your side or not.
Yeah, no, that's a call out. Like, and I'd mentioned earlier in this conversation, right? So like software, no matter what software it is, they're going to run into issues. I'm sure you've hopped onto Netflix and you're clicking through and then it just shuts off, right? And then you can't access the account. So software, the way it is built, it is so heavily reliant on servers. And as Truckstop grows and as we have different products and we have more people signing up for it, these servers need to be able to be able to support it. I am not nearly smart enough to explain how that server supports it and do these calls and pull that in. But I know that we've already identified that issue. So there's somebody much smarter than I in meetings, much more important than they'll ever let me into, that'll say, hey, this is what we're doing to fix these like server issues. So I know that I've had people that reach out to me like via LinkedIn. So I just post stuff on LinkedIn and somebody reach out and be like, hey man, I'm a carrier. My RMIS stuff isn't in there. What do I go about it? And one of the nice things that I have the ability to, even though it's not my job, right? I can go, oh, hey, I know the person that might be able to assist you. And they're going to be the ones, since I don't work with RMIS at all, I'm on the freight match side rather than RMIS. I can adjudicate, or I'll be able to be the liaison to the person that can help. So I know that there are issues that we run into as well as any of the other, databases out there, but it's things that we've already seen a way to get around a lot of it. But again, there's a lot more work than just a plug and play when you're dealing with the server as large as ours.
Normally not a big issue. Like I said, I've only experienced it once in 3 years. The other issue that I've got is, and this is probably a bit more serious, particularly for dispatchers that may exist out there. You guys don't allow dispatch services access. So if a dispatch service gets access, it's usually through one of their clients, sponsors them on their client's account. Now that's perfectly fine. I've actually got a client that does that, and so that's how I'm able to use your product. However, the risk of fraud in that does show up. I've got a carrier who works with me now. He's only been working with me for about 6 months, and his past dispatcher still has access through that carrier's account to Truckstop and posts his trucks on Truckstop. So it shows up as my carrier's MC number, but those are not the MC numbers that dispatcher is trying to put out. So there was an appearance of double brokering going on in my carrier's name. And I have worked with your security people before. I shot an email to them immediately and advised them what account was under duress, what was going on, and reported them as a likely double broker. And immediately you guys did an IP ban on that account. Okay. Yeah. So good on the response. I love the response, but I'm wondering if it's not worth revisiting the policy of allowing dispatch services to have their own accounts so you can police them as dispatchers and how they operate.
Absolutely. So I'll go into a couple. There's like a trifold. There's about 3 things that I can bring up there. So I absolutely hear you. Truckstop used to actually support dispatchers, right? So that has changed in more. I think it was 2021 when we shut off the ability to the OG dispatchers that never canceled. Those people, some of those are still around because it was a sunsetted thing where it's like you've been with us for however long. But like new people coming on, this is going to be my devil's advocate position.
Please.
So how do you verify if somebody is a legitimate dispatcher? So the thing that Truckstop utilizes and what we have to have on every single account, which separates us from our competitors, some of our competitors are just like, hey, you have a credit card information, you could say whoever you want to be as long as somebody doesn't say that you are otherwise. So they'll sign up, anybody could sign up, and a lot of fraudulent actors get in that way because they'll sign up with a credit card number and they'll post a bunch of fraudulent stuff until they get caught. Whereas over at Truckstop, our security, we're never going to be the largest load board, but we're going to be the most secure, because when you go to sign up with Truckstop, you have to have a DOT or an MC number, right? It has to be verified. The number that's on the FMCSA that you've purported needs to be able to, we can either call it, or if there's an email, we need to be able to respond in that email and say, it looks like somebody's signing up under your DOT number. Do you agree to this or not? So the response being, I don't know how they're going to really pinpoint like who's going to be a legitimate dispatcher. And I think the overall overarching easiest way when you're getting tens of thousands of people signing up for these different accounts at different times is if you have a DOT number, it's very easy to verify, versus a dispatch service that might be a very legitimate dispatch service, but they just have dispatchservice@gmail.com. And how are we going to be able to verify that? So that's my devil's advocate position.
One of the things that I think FMCSA can do to actually help that is actually give dispatchers their own form of authority. I as a dispatch service, I wholly support being regulated with our own type of authority so that we can be monitored. I spend a lot of time taking down dispatch services who are really bad at what they do.
Right. And that's the beautiful thing. So I think, and again, I'm not the one that's I'm not in Kendra's ear telling her exactly how things need to be run, but I do know that if there's a way that we'd be able to verify that through our security team that we have existing, then if that does change in the future, if we start getting some sort of authority for dispatchers specifically that we can check and our security team can verify it is, John, and we do know that he is a legitimate service, that's when we get into it. We even have the issue if like we allow shippers to sign up. It's not a huge chunk of our business, but we have shippers that want to take logistics into their own hands. They're having trouble finding capacity. They might only move like 1 or 2 loads a month. So they don't need somebody really hands-on. It's just somebody that's in the system like, hey, I need a flatbed truck once a month, right? So we even have to verify that business is legitimate. And we have to go to the Secretary of State, make sure that the person that owns that business is aware that we're setting this up. We have to make sure that this is in fact a legitimate business, because there are a lot of people that'll sign up and they're like, yeah, I'm a shipper. Okay, well, what do you ship? Do you have a website? No website. Or are you on the Secretary of State? Well, not really. So that kind of circles back to that. Our security
I can say yes to both of those.
Right. Yeah. So like that circles back to like why we allow shippers and how they go about it. And if I get a shipper account that wants to sign up, let's say a lot of shippers have carrier accounts with us already, right? And they use us to backhaul, but they're like, yeah, I need to post because I can't find freight. Even though they use Truckstop on the carrier side, we still have to diligently vet them. So that's the response. There's like, I know that I have a lot of dispatchers that have reached out over the years and they're like, hey man, I'd love to be able to use it, but I can't. Or I always tell them like, hey, go to the company that you dispatch for. If you have a really good relationship with them, if they are okay with you to have that and they know what's going on. Now you have to understand that when you're giving somebody that ability, you have to be on top of whether you can take it away from them, because if they have the login and they're logging in and posting those trucks up, right? That owner operator that signed up for that service needs to go back and go, hey, I need to change my password or I need to do something. So it gives the owner operator, whoever signed up for that, they're going to have to go in and make sure that person doesn't have access, because they were the ones that gave them the authority in the first place, right?
But,
again, love the way your security team works. You guys do a fantastic job of that.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it.
I wanna throw something in here, Trent, and you don't have to write it down, but I would appreciate if you remember it. A big thing that we talk about here in the lounge is fraud. and theft. That's actually how I met John here. You know, we have a lot of people that come on this show, folks like Dale Praxton, Freight Validate, Tim Bannon with the Bannon Report, Claudia Catlett, She Ranieri with Trusted, a lot of different companies that are out there doing, you know, what you're talking about right now, the risk assessment stuff, just a separate platform. My point is one of the things that I've spoken to about with all of these different folks that I just mentioned, and they've all agreed would be a great thing, is if there was a way for everyone to integrate that data. And I bring that up because, you know, you guys, you just rolled this out, Trent, with this risk thing. You know, I know a lot of people that are in the risk assessment that have individual platforms that, you know, would be of value to you guys to integrate with their data. Y'all bought RMIS. You know, you bought that, you know, so you could have that data and be able to have access to that and utilize that, you know, to help grow your business and help offer different products and such like that. Yeah. And with this new rollout, the thing that you just showed, you know, hey, you guys get data, a lot of it, that's great. But we all know that there's other people that get data that you do not, that may be able to, you know, add to that and help you guys strengthen the level of security and the depth of the assessment that you folks are given. So you write that down, you think about that. Yeah. I'm saying that because we here in the lounge, man, we're huge believers in trying to stop this fraud stuff, man. Myself as a broker, you know, John is a dispatcher, Josh, who will be back with us momentarily, is a carrier. This shit is running rampant. You know, it is destroying companies. It's destroying people's livelihoods. It's making, and the worst part of it is that it's making everybody's job more difficult. You know, now we have all these additional steps that we have to go through to verify who you are, that you say who you are, that you represent the company, that you say you do such and such. So write that down, man. You know, remember that. You know, put that to someone in your security team. You know, I know a lot of people that would be willing to share data with you guys. And I bring it up to you because some of your competitors, they're not interested. They think that they've got the shit all figured out. You know what I mean? They're the best thing running. Nobody can tell them what to do. They've got all this money and all this data that they throw with stuff. And I think that, and I know John 1,000% will agree with this, the only way that we're going to make change in this industry and stop the bad actors is if we all fucking work together. And until we do that, it doesn't matter how much data Truckstop has or John has or Freight Validate has. It doesn't matter until everyone is sharing that data. Right. Everyone can compare and say, hey, I found this, you found that. Let's see what it comes together as. You know, that's where the real change is going to take place.
I think that's actually genius. And if we look back to the early days in law enforcement, I'm only going to bring this up because it was a collaborative effect. If there were people that were committing felonies in different states all over the US and they never talked to each other, right? And then we have a Federal Bureau of Investigation that comes in, and then now they can look at all of the department's information, right? And then they're able to better find those bad actors. So there's collaboration there, and it makes sense because everybody has different data points. I can never give, you know, Truckstop's official position, but what I see maybe being the issue is obviously data is now a commodity, right? Data is a very value-driven perspective. So I could never say exactly if that was something that will go through in the future. I think it's a great idea. I think it's brilliant. And one of the things that I do know we have is I know Alan, who's the head of partnership alliances with Truckstop. If you go to Truckstop into our website and go into the resources, there's like a partnership page, right? So if there are companies that would make sense to partner with us, I'm not the one that says yes or no, but there is an ability to reach out to us and go, hey, like we have this collaboration that we'd like to do. Maybe we can mutually benefit on some case. I just know that at the end of the day, I think there's the worry of data being the commodity, so not spreading that. And again, I can't give it as the official position at the company I'm at. It's just one of those things I can see being the sticking point. But the beautiful thing about Truckstop, and you can go see this for yourself. You go to truckstop.com, you go to our resources and drop down to the partnerships and alliances that we have, and then people are able to get in there and go for it.
I'm going to feed that information to the folks that I just mentioned, because I don't know, we all have to agree that in, I can't even say in this specific area, but in a lot of areas of this industry, the only way that change is going to happen and further layers of security, layers of trust, the ability to do business more efficiently and effectively. We're all going to have to start talking. It's great that everybody has their own platform, man. That's fucking wonderful. And I use the example as a broker when, people new brokers ask older brokers, hey, what do you do that helps you get freight? Well, I could tell you what I do, but it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And I think the same way when it comes to people who operate in the same area of business. Like, hey, so someone may like ABC Brick Lane Company, but that doesn't mean that XYZ Brick Company doesn't do the same thing just as great and can add a layer of value to that. So, it really does. I've used the word collective here, and our industry, it really is at the point that we need to be building collectives. It really is. There's a lot of fraud and theft and bad actors. And there's a lot of just things in this industry that are hard to navigate at this point. I don't know how you feel. But my position is COVID ruined this fucking industry. It did, man. And so it opened up a lot of the not insecurities, but the failures that we have in this industry. You know what I mean? And so now we've all got to up our game.
Right. And I think, and I'll speak to this as well. So 2021, you could fall out of bed and make money. It was so easy to make money in this industry. So I think they brought a lot more people into logistics. And when that happened, unfortunately, a lot of the wrong people saw how much money could be made. And I think what you're mentioning, and really, I encourage your viewers to go to our website and go look at those partnership alliance, or the people that maybe want to partner Truckstop. Go in there, submit your information, and if there was a way to mutually collaborate and be able to stomp out this fraud at a better level, I know Truckstop's all about it. We are trying to make basically our entire mission is to make our customers' lives easier. We want to make it easier in every facet from start to finish. That's why we offer the product suite that we have. So if it's something that I know we work on internally all the time, and if there's a way that would make sense for some of the partners to reach out through that, through our website and under our partnerships, truckstop.com, go to resources, go to the partnerships, you'll see what we currently have. And then you could, anybody that wants to pitch that, right, you can get involved and see if there is that ability. And I think you're right too, is we're going to need to figure out a way, because we can only cut ahead of these fraudsters so many times. They're getting increasingly more clever. John can speak to this as well. So any way we can better improve that, we're always trying to find that, that best solution for our end users and keeping this, this industry safe.
I love that, Trent. I really do, man. And, I'm glad that we've had this time with you. And I'm happy that now, I feel like I have a personal connection with Truckstop through you, Trent. I really do. And, I appreciate, I like the things that y'all are doing to try to, not only up your own game, but, implement things that are actually useful to the industry. Your competitors, you and I both know, man, there's other folks out there that do the same thing. But the thing is how do you do it different? How do you do it better? A big part of our industry is setting yourself apart from the other people that do the same shit. And you have to find an innovative way to do that. And y'all really are. And not even on just this topic of the fraud and the other stuff that we've spoken about, but even y'all social media game, man. You guys are really really stepping it up. You're getting out there. You're engaging. I've said that y'all have engaged with our show a lot. We've seen you engage with friends of ours on X and other people on LinkedIn. You know, that's amazing, the things that y'all are doing to try to get yourself out there more in the industry as more of a friend than anything. I really say that, man. Everyone that I talk to or that mentions Truckstop at this point, y'all are probably the only load board that I hear positive things about. And I don't know if John and Josh can say that, but
I agree.
Yeah, I'm serious. You guys are at this point the only load board that positive things are being said about out there right now.
100%.
Man, I love to hear that, because that's really what we want to do, and what we're trying to do. Even me coming on to here, like I took my personal oath. I'm not even going to talk about Truckstop for a second. When I started in the position that I was in, I went from new logo, so I had no relationships with these people. I was just like, hey, get me signed up, get me signed up, get me signed up, right? So I knew people from that. But when I moved over to this route where I developed these long-term relationships where I know that I'm going to get a call if something happens on our site from several people, right? And they're going to call me, and like having that relationship and understanding what y'all are going through, because I've never been a freight broker. I'm learning everything secondhand from, and like a truck driver again, like I've never been in a truck. I've never had to do any long hauls. So like hearing from people that have done that and seeing what challenges they face and letting them know, like, that's what we're trying to do. There's a lot of people at Truckstop that worked in logistics prior, either as truck drivers, dispatchers, operations managers. We try to bring people in so we have a better understanding of what challenges you guys are facing and how can we improve. And that's one of the things that I've personally, outside of Truckstop, I wanted to understand what you guys are going through on a day-to-day basis. And it was mind-blowing to see how many issues you have, even though it's a heavily regulated industry, how many problems you have to face, like the stress level of the average broker or average dispatcher or truck driver. It blew me away. I had no idea what you guys had to go through. And it really circumvented the fact that, like, we have these tools. Before it was just, this is a pitch that, hey, this is what we have. Now it's like, no, Grant, like, I know your business because we talk every week and these are the problems you're running into. I don't think you need this tool that we have. Maybe you don't need that anymore. Maybe this is a new tool we have because I think it will genuinely help. It's not me saying I want to increase our revenue. It's me saying I genuinely think this is going to be able to help you in some regard, whether that's preventing fraud, whether that's saving you time. And that's the cool thing about being on here, like meeting with you guys and meeting people that are directly in that industry.
Dude, that's
I was gonna say, Pedro, real quick. I've experienced Truckstop platform since about 2015, 2016, and with shipper perspective, 3PL perspective, broker perspective, and now carrier perspective. And I gotta say, like, Truckstop has been solid on all those fronts that I've worked in so far.
Awesome, man. We'd love to hear that. Yeah. So I do appreciate that, guys, and thanks for having me on. Like, it was, we got to meet you guys. I don't want to purport myself to be the face of Truckstop, but people always bring me in because I'm posting funny freight memes. I post stupid things that sometimes get me in trouble, but the idea is I want to connect with everybody in the industry, and there is like, I joke about like this trauma bond between people that are in the industry.
That's why we connected on freight on X.
Exactly. So we all go through, and I'm going to pull myself out of it because I'm not a broker or a carrier, but like, we all go through some of the same shit that creates hardships in lives. And these are like real people. Now, when I have an issue that pops up, if there's a claim that shouldn't be there, like, I'm so much more mutually invested to be like, hey, like, I actually know Pedro, or I actually know Josh, so I need to be able to step in and be able to be more of an advocate, and I'm trying to go above and beyond my position internally because I actually care. And that's the thing that Truckstop, that is our culture. Like, we're not hiring people that just throw stuff to the wall and see if it sticks. Like, we actually, like, everybody on our team cares to see a better result, and I think that's why we've done so well.
That's amazing to hear, man. And I would concur with that. Do you concur, Doctor? I concur.
I concur.
And you know what, Trent? I wanted to say this in the beginning. Logistics saves everyone, man.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has that zigzag story, dude.
Yeah, for sure, man. Trent, we definitely want to have you back on, man, and do a live show. Just have us get some carriers, man, in the comments and feed some stuff through, man, and let them talk
Trent.
to you. You guys really are doing some good things out there. Go ahead, Josh. What?
Let's do a live show with Trent because he's so fucking cool, Pedro.
Yeah.
Where we have a freestyle. Yeah. We do a serious one, but we do freestyle. I want him to meet all the crazy fuckers on that.
Bro, hey, look, I've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different shorts that I'm going to promote before we run this show. And I'm going to tag Truckstop in every one, and they're going to see him. And they're like, "Oh shit, Trent laying it down."
Fuck yeah!
Nice, dude.
They're going,
Love it. Love it.
So they're going to be like, "Oh man, like Trent, you got to go back in the logistics lounge and hang out." So we're for sure going to have you back on, Trent. You chopping out some time for us meant a lot. It really does. I know that Truckstop gets a ton of requests for y'all to come on shows and do stuff with people, and we're honored that we were we were able to make this happen. Before we do our final sponsor break and chop out this piece, Trent, do you have any exiting comments, questions, concerns, updates, or plugs?
The only plug I'm going to be and the only reason why it's my selfish plug, right? So I'm on LinkedIn. I post stupid freight memes, right? I call them juicy freight memes. So if you just find me Trent Martin on LinkedIn, the reason why I'm doing that is it's more so like I'm trying to be the guy where I can get tagged in something. If it's not my client that has an issue, I can still be a liaison, or sometimes I'll call them directly if I have that. So I'm trying to be able to give people a more personal, connected experience. I'm not scalable. There's one person here, but being able to have somebody where they know, like, hey, this person cares. Like, I genuinely care if there's issues. And I had people like comment, hey, this problem is happening. There are times where I have the time to call. There are times where I don't, where I can just loop in on an email. Hey, please reach out to this person. Because as you know, like if you had to call into Truckstop over the last couple of months, wait times could be a little longer than what we've had in the past. It's because we're growing. We've actually, we had some updates today that we're going to be able to fix that. And every call within 60 seconds is going to pick up, and that's within the next few months. So we are getting to that point, but we're scaling, we're growing. We're trying to give everybody a better customer experience. So the little thing that I can do, if I'm accessible to somebody, if I can't directly call, I want to be a liaison, and I want people to remember, like, it's not some big conglomerate. Like there's Trent that cares. If you have an issue and he can help and he has time to do it, like that's the kind of culture we have at Truckstop, where we genuinely want to put our people first. So if you find me on LinkedIn, any of your viewers also, if follow Truckstop, the main account page for LinkedIn, it's hilarious. If you haven't seen some of the comments they've been posting up, Joey's done a fantastic, the whole team over there, but those are my only links.
Truckstop, and anyone that understands the troll game is going to understand this. Truckstop is like the fucking Wendy's of load board.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, them bitches are.
Yeah, dude, the clapbacks, dude. Like, the whole team is so clever in what they do. I really have to hand it to them. They've done a fantastic job being able to navigate like pretty tough scenario of like, the last thing I'll end on, right? And this is something that I really want to see improve. We have carriers and we have brokers, and there's this dogfight where people they're just not getting along. It's oil and water, and there's a lot of finger pointing, right? I can only attest to what I'm involved in, and I'm representing the aspects of my brokers, right? Like in my territory, in my perspective. But one thing I know everybody should want is we want better relationships between carriers and brokers. I know Truckstop is vying for that. And like the fact that we're all on this call and we all have those same sentiments, like, hey, how are we going to make things harder for fraudsters? How are we going to make things easier for the people that are doing the right thing? That's the thing that it's not easy to do. And sometimes we might not make the right move in the eyes of some people, or there might be people that are upset because the software doesn't do X, Y, or Z at the time that they do it. And so I'll loop it back into like that. The team that runs that, we want people to know, like, we're real people. We try to make light out of bad scenarios. And we're also trying to bring together like the dogfight that is the brokers and carriers. We want to be able to make that a better relationship for really everybody. And that's what we have on our platform, or we at least try to be.
Josh, before I get to you, Trent, I just want to say, man, that whenever you become VP or CEO of Truckstop, I don't want you to fucking forget about us little people here, bro. I'm telling you, this.
Absolutely,
that's right,
dude. I don't know how many shows you do, Trent, but
this guy's the real deal.
You know what? This is my first ever show. My first ever conference was last week. I've been to Truckstop like over 3 years, but I was just never in like a relationship, style sense. And now I've moved into this new role as of like last September. And so this is you got Trent Martin, #1 show.
Bro,
you deserve it, Trent.
So you should, if I'm ever anybody in this world, at least you could say, hey, we had Trent on the show when he was a nobody.
You did.
You are somebody, bitch. Get out of here.
Oh, yeah, you did. Hey, this shit was. This was great. I don't know how out of all the people there, Trent, that they chose you, but I'm glad that they did. Truckstop, man. When I tag them, I'm going to throw you so much love, Trent. Dude, you
appreciate it.
You're a real dude, man.
For real, man. And that's the stuff that people like. People don't like fake motherfuckers.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I'll say this. Truckstop is really putting themselves out there and on the level that they're not the fake motherfucker. Hey, we're out here. We're for real. We're listening to what everyone is saying about the issues that they're having, about accurate rate data, about fraud stuff, about features that you really need, integrations that really matter to you, and the whole add-on thing.
And
man.
Pedro's not talking shit. You don't want to know why, Trent? Because we're on X Spaces for hours, and you know this, Pedro. And Pedro's a busy dude. And on X, you got real truckers, owner ops, fleet owners that talk about truck stops and talk about everything Pedro's saying. So he's not blowing smoke.
No,
Pedro does not blow smoke up anyone's ass.
Dude,
this is like real shit.
Yeah.
Truckstop goes into these spaces late at night. You know it's true, Pedro.
Yeah. They've been in our spaces. They have been in our spaces.
Listening to their customers, dude. You guys are fucking listening to your customers, not making decisions in a fucking silo.
And that is truly like that. If Josh, if you said anything about Truckstop, that is really what we want people to know. Is like we want as much feedback on everything as we can. We're gonna have good, we're gonna have bad, but if we can just improve the lives of everybody in this community, like we're all in it together, man. Like if you're even if you're not a Truckstop user, we want this space to be better for everyone.
Fuck yeah, man. We're definitely gonna have you back on, Trent. Yeah. Seriously, I'm as soon as we're done with this or tomorrow morning, you email or whatever, whoever is the one that set you up with this and say, hey, Logistics Lounge wants to have us back, have me, not us, have back on to represent Truckstop on a live show. They want to feed comments live from a carrier and broker audience. Nothing bad. We want you guys to be here and be able to take comments and feedback and get suggestions and stuff from the folks that are out there on the ground. I know that you talk to them all the time and stuff, Trent, but there are people out there that y'all don't touch base with. Yeah,
absolutely.
That can give y'all valuable insight. So you make sure that you send someone and say that we're definitely going to have you back on for a live show, Trent.
And Kendra, I know you're going to watch these sound bites. Come on the show. Also, I know you want to dominate the international markets. There's a lot of people that watch this show that are from overseas, drivers, fleet managers. Like this is like those. That's the market you want to touch. Like, come on the fucking show, Logistics Lounge.
Hell yeah, man!
Nice.
But Trent would do though. Trent would do fucking go, dude.
Josh, do you have any exiting comments, questions, concerns, updates, or plugs?
I don't, because I already said it all. So what I said earlier. So that's all I have, brother. Hunter, I want to wish you a speedy recovery.
Yeah.
Trent, thanks for joining the show. And that's all I have, Pedro.
Sweet. Hang with me for a minute, guys. I am going to give a plug for John Cantera, the double broker bounty hunter. John is an amazing individual. We're very lucky to have him a part of the Lounge Collective. Please go and watch his show. Stop the Scam, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on Mondays. You can look him up on YouTube and Facebook, Double Broker Bounty Hunter. Or you can also look him up on Facebook and LinkedIn under John Cantera. Guys, absolutely amazing. Make
Support the homie.
Yeah, yes, for sure, man. Make sure y'all go watch his stuff. Like, share, support all that good thing, all those good things. I'm going to go ahead and do a final sponsor break, pay some bills, and then we are going to get out of this piece. Shoreline Capital. Look, you got invoices. We talk about this all the time. Who the fuck can wait to get their money? Nobody. Everybody wants their money now. You see those worth commercials? That's how Shoreline is with factoring. You got money and you need it now. You need to do business with Shoreline Capital.
Shoreline, baby.
Their website, or go to their website when you sign up. You use that code scrolling across the bottom of your screen, and you get to start your relationship off pretty much for free. I mean, what a damn deal that is. Another deal that we got going right now, just dropping today ahead of this show that will be premiering tomorrow, June 14th. Obviously, this is recorded, so it will be coming out the day after. But today is the day that is dropping. Go to the exact link that is scrolling across the bottom of your screen. Gigo, you can get yourself some trackers and access to their platform. They have a special promo right now. I think up to $200, maybe $300 off your initial order with them. If you're a large size fleet, please contact myself or Hunter, and we can talk about getting y'all an even better deal on a massive bulk package. Gigo, real live GPS tracking. Be on the lookout. I'm actually about to drop some stuff. I just sent out a Gigo tracker today that is going to my homie, Mr. Hound. And we're going to track that. Yeah, bro. We're going to track
go.
Nice. We're going to track that shit live, bro. I'm literally
about to fucking cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Dude, yeah, about to post it as soon as we get up the show. All right. Gigo, real live GPS tracking. Protect your assets. Protect your freight. Don't be a victim of theft. You can mitigate that 100% with Gigo. What a show.
That was fun, guys. That was fun. I'm glad I was able to meet you too. That's awesome.
Bro,
same, brother.
You're absolutely amazing. Cannot wait to have you back on live. I'm going to start dropping these plugs for next week. Incredible show. I will actually be surprised if Truckstop is not beat down my door asking to be a sponsor.
Hell yeah, let's go.
You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, bro. I know too many people that know too many people over at Truckstop. We can make this shit happen. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, baby.
Hey, we Hunter, I know that you will be back by the time that this show airs, but we love you, man.
Right.
Please get better. Sorry that you got sick with the vid, but shit happens. And we will see you all next time here in the Logistics Lounge. Even though he's not here, I still got to do it. as I always say, chunk them deuces. And
Hey.
Mr. Hound, roll that beautiful bean footage.